Greetings everyone, hello and welcome back to Railway Empire 2 1835. We are right now, the glorious age of steam trains is upon us, and yeah, well, the stations continue to grow and so are the cities. And we are continuing our episode here with, well, optimization with what we already did in the last episode, that was making a very good freight and passenger specialized track system here to Boston and Portland, right? So we get a freight line and a passenger line on the same tracks, and they're working flawlessly for the moment. I can only see that there might be... Oh, what is happening here? No, nothing. There's just a tunnel. And I can only see one problem with that coming up in the future, is that when the passenger focused trains get faster than the freighters, right? So they don't get the express ticket bonus anymore. Once that happens, we probably will need to switch to 4 tracks, at least for the high density zones. But I can't see that happening anytime soon. And to be honest, I think it's just much cleaner to use 2 tracks and just, tacked those train lines into them with, specialist platforms in the stations. And this is where we continue. We do have a mess here right now. That is a fact. This is our first station, right? And here it looks safe now and clean. Here it's still a total mess at the moment. I don't know what I did there. Anyway, it's been some time, and we do have some specialized lines here, of course, and we want to definitely clean this up. So I'm just going in here with the sledgehammer now. Let's just pause it there real quick. I'm going to do both here at the same time, right? So we're just going to delete that. As far as my understanding goes, the lines still exist, right? They're just going to have a bit of a problem right now finding their station, and we need to rectify this. Now, there is the lines coming in from up here, right? So platform 3 is being used heavily, and also what I think platform... Was it this one? It might also have been this one. No, platform... Look at that. This platform is not used at all right now. This platform, of course, is heavily used. This one will be heavily used. This one will be heavily used, but this one seems to be completely empty for now. That's good, right? So platform 5 it is, and that we will need to utilize then as well. Let's go ahead and choose us those platforms that we make clear of. I mean, we do have even more room here to grow if we wanted to, and we're going to take the tracks that are over there now, and we're going to connect them. So this is Washington. This is the freighter that will be also then to Washington. This is then to Boston, right? The passengers and the freight. And then we're going with, actually, the last platforms. It just makes sense like this, if we want to utilize everything here. What are you doing there? This doesn't make sense. There is a building here? Oh, it's a maintenance post, an old one. Why buy a maintenance post? And I really just want to make sure that we are using now the right platforms here. And yeah, we are completely finishing that train station now. So this is a fully fledged out 8 platform train station now. And look at that. The game even adjusted so that it looks proper. I like the look of that, really. Beautiful. And this is now going then in this direction, right? And let's just make sure that we are also... Wait a second. We will need this platform here too. Right, so this platform though is ending somewhere here, because there's then going to be our gridiron and something like that. That completes the whole cycle that we have. We might also, just for completion's sake really, so that it doesn't look so dirty, just add this one to that one, even though this is unnecessary, right? This one is the one that we need. This one is just for the looks of it, so that it looks a bit cleaner, so that the track doesn't end somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Now with that, at least this system is clean. We just need now, as we can see, cannot be reached. We do have now a bit of a problem with the lines themselves, so we need to edit them. Oh, one more thing. Track direction, of course. Let's just make sure that this is still the right track. There you go. And this is then station tracks, right? So this doesn't matter anymore for the grander thing. And we just can now edit those lines a bit to our liking. Right now they are coming in here. There we have then Boston, New York City, Malone. That is the freighter up there in the north. That's right. And I'm also going to make sure that we use the same thing now in Clark Station, also then in Albany. So right over there, we have the gridiron already. We have the 3 tracks. This continues then onwards. And then it continues all the way now over here to Smith Rest. There's the... Do we have a gridiron here? There it is, yeah. And then we have one here. And then it continues to Syracuse. And here, we are probably going to make this track connected to, or actually this one. Yeah, I think we're going to use this track here. Because on this line, I also want to have now specialized tracks, right? I want to go ahead with one freighter and one passenger line. There you go. Having the grid line here will function for Syracuse. And then we have Buffalo down here. This is still a very rural station. Let's make sure that we are not doing it like that, but we are coming in here like so. And also, of course, another track that we can then use for the freighters. That comes in like that. And then we are also going to make a grid iron out of it. And Buffalo is also now connected with that. I think here. This is fine. It doesn't need a grid iron here, because that is just a freight platform. And then we go all the way to Syracuse. So this is a bit complicated right now. But I think it makes sense once we have the whole thing set up. I'm actually going to... we just delete it, or I can also just, no, wait a second, I can also just use the line that we already have, right? So there it is. That is my New York City, Albany, Syracuse, and we might actually just continue all the way to Buffalo. Let's make this line new, right? Get the money back from the locomotives, and we have this one here still as well. That is the freight one, right? Holy cow. Oh my goodness, we probably will need to have a closer look here. So that it always needs the right station. So it starts in Syracuse, and it's already choosing the right platform there, and we're going to select platform 5, right? And then it continues all the way. It stops in Smith Rest. Here it will use platform 3, very important. Doesn't block any passengers. In Albany, it will use platform 4. Wait a second, platform 3. Because we want to have, of course, if there's two freighter lines, they can both use different platforms, right? So we got the third one. No, wait a second. Albany. We are on the way to Clark Station right now. It needs to be number 4, sorry. Right, we have the right side of traffic. In Clark Station, platform 3. And then it continues all the way to New York City. And here we are going to take platform, the middle one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Platform 6 is going to be... it's already in it. Perfect. And then we go on our way back again, right? Clark Station. This is where we have number 3 again. Might be a bit of a problem down the road. I don't think so. I don't think so. In Albany, we choose now platform number 3. So the middle ground. Right? And then it continues to Smith Rest once more. And here it also chooses platform number 3. And should we actually stop in Smith Rest? Yeah, let's stop in Smith Rest. Very good. So this is now on its way, right? There's also no error message here with conflicting platforms and stuff like that. So this is working really good now. There is still the problem with Robinson Rest and... yeah, Robinson Rest with the corn and the grain. Because right now in New York City, the problem here is that there's still no grain and corn coming in. So we definitely want to get this on the way. First things, we have grain and corn here at the station in Syracuse, right? And Syracuse is connected with Robinson Rest. Problem though is I think there is no specialized freighter right now to Syracuse that delivers that. And since this is actually quite a lot of goods that we want to have there, let's make our own platform and our own line just for this, right? And I'm going to use a bit of a buffer here as we're going out. And then we're just building that track system there. And then we're going to make our own grid iron once again a bit further away so that everything here is connected nicely. Direction-wise, it's fine. And of course, also in Robinson Rest, we're going to use our own track with that. That is then connecting with the system here. And this is really just a one-way... oh, this is not enough. A one-way train. But it's... what is going on? The supply tower is blocking it. Oh, there it is. Let's get rid of it. Alright, interesting. The supply tower needs to be gone for the grid iron to function. There you go. And then, of course, we should not forget about the supply tower somewhere behind it again. Some of you have made an excellent suggestion, by the way, that we should have these supply towers as close to stations as possible. Because, of course, one thing makes sense. The train is already slowing down for the station, so it can stop at the supply tower, get into the station, so we're not losing that much time. If we have the supply tower in the middle of the open tracks, the train is at full speed, needs to slow down, stop, and then go back up to full speed again. So of course we should also make sure in these modernized tracks now that we have the supply towers close to the stations, right? So that those trains will never have to stop at full speed. So this is particularly important now between Buffalo and New York. So we are going to make sure that these supply towers are now close to stations. This one, for example, is not. Let's get rid of that. And we already have, there's Robinson Rest. And then I want to have my supply station. Yeah, problem is though, what I can notice now is that I can't have these supply stations within a grid iron, right? So I would have to have it a bit further outside. That doesn't make sense then, right? So the grid iron should be as small as possible for this to really work. Yeah, all right. Let's create a new line here too, Robinson Rest now, to, yeah, just to Syracuse really. A very specialized one. This is most likely not going to make us profit. I don't think so. It's just one way, it's just one train, and it's just two types of goods. And it's probably not always going to be full, but it's necessary in my opinion. Let's go ahead and focus this one on freight. And this is really just going now to Syracuse, and it's already using the right platform too. Let's accept it, right? So this will start then here and get the grain and the corn to Syracuse. All right, the freight we have. Now we just need to make sure that we also use the passengers. And for the passengers, I wanted to start in Buffalo now, right? What are we here? What are you doing? That is Buffalo to Robinson. No, Buffalo to Syracuse for what? For freight, it seems. We might not need this one anymore. Yeah, at least for now, let's get rid of this one, of this line, because I think with Robinson Rest, a specialized train now, we have our cargo for Syracuse, and I don't need that to do with Buffalo anymore. So let's just not do it. And then we create the passenger one, Buffalo, Syracuse, Albany, which is not working. All right, here we have another problem. Cooper's Rest. I'm not using that loop system here anymore. We can get rid of these tracks. I'm not using them, right? We had it differently. Let's go ahead and make the. So here, unfortunately, I will need to do this a bit the nasty way now. Yeah, also all the way here, because there's a lot of tracks now coming together, and this is going to be a pretty massive gridiron now. But that's necessary for this kind of station, because there's just a lot of traffic coming in. Come on, this should be possible. There's the supply tower again. Goodbye. Alright, nah, this is too big. Is it? Alright, something is definitely wrong here. Alright, no, actually it just needs really that much space. That is just crazy. That is too much. Sorry. Let's do this differently. Let's get rid of that. And we're just basically now using just these two platforms there, right? There's no other way for me to do this. So there you go, much cleaner now, and we do have the right platforms now. Here, this one is used, this one is used, this is used, and the two we have as a buffer for the future. And with that, we can now continue making our line again, right? This should now be a problem now. Buffalo to Syracuse to Albany to New York, and this is passengers. And of course, we need to make sure that we use the right track. So it's always 1 and 2 for the passengers now, right? So in Buffalo, we definitely can use track number 1. That's that. On its way to Albany in Syracuse, we stop at platform number 2. Yeah. In Albany, we also will choose platform number... Oh, this is a bit tricky because this is a mirrored station, right? So it comes in here. It actually needs to be platform number 4. There you go. Because the other platforms are used for the cargo that comes in from here, right? From the grain farm. And then New York, we need to make sure that here we don't use the track that we already use for the freight. And that is then the platform number 8, really. So the highest platform that we have. Right? And then we continue back on our way again. In Albany, it's going to be platform number 3. And in Syracuse, it's going to be platform number 1. And let's just hope that nothing here was missed. We are going to see that anyway. We're going to choose now the specialized Firefly for that. 2 trains on this for sure. And it's going to be express, and the dining car we can definitely also choose. No error message. That's a good sign. At least there is something. And it's now waiting for deployment. Might take a while. The game is still paused. Let's actually unpause it for the short period. There's also the train now starting here with the grain and the corn. Of course, there's a lot in the export storage here now, right? So there's 72 grain waiting here and 43 corn here. So it's going to take a while before this train is really up to full efficiency right now. It's just, yeah, primarily going to transport one type of good. And in Syracuse, we have then the warehouse, the grain and the corn, and this is then getting over to New York. That's the goal here. Alright, I immediately have to pause the game again because we have the other construction site here at the moment running now, and that is to Philly. And in Philly, we already have 3 tracks now. Very good for the freight. This continues then onwards here. Once again, we need to make this one into now the passenger and the freight, right? And we use now platform 1. So this is something that we already had. And we can immediately... No, we cannot unfortunately make a parallel one. So we'll have to do it myself. To this one. Right, there you go. So at least that is now running again. And then we have number 3 is being used though. So number 3 I can use as well. I think we already have that here. And once again, so we don't need to do this all the time, right? If I start a new game again, we might... Oh, we don't even need to do this at all because I will just do it from the beginning. Right now we're learning, and in that case, we are making this a bit more efficient. How it should be, I think, right? So we have the passengers now going 1 and 2 again, and then the freight going number 3. And the train coming from here that is using platform 3 right now will have to use platform 4. That's this one here. Oops. Alright, once again, I really don't like it so much here, the track system, to be honest, because it is not as clean as, for example, Transport Fever. Absolutely not. So, for a game that specializes in trains, this should be easier, to be honest. But, alright, I'll take it. We need to make the connection here, so... Build it, and then build this one all the way here somewhere. And then we go into that station and just hope that it works. It does not work. It works. Perfect. Right. Now we use platform number 4 for this line here. We need to edit this real quick. This is Robinson Rest. What? Syracuse? What is this here? There you go. And in Philly, it's using platform number 4. Right, this is just a one-way train system, so that is fine. Now, we are also coming back out of Philly. I need to get rid of this one here for the whole thing to work. Platform number 3 is merging together with the other 2. Alright, after a bit of fiddling around, all the stations are now connected. That is New York to Philadelphia. The other stations are being cleaned up. And this one also continues then all the way here to Washington, where it comes together again with a 3-platform system. And this is the stop anyway. Now, we don't theoretically need the 3rd platform right now, since it's the ending. We could just say passenger go 1 and freight goes 2. But I think at some point we're just going to continue with Washington away again. And I don't want to redo the whole thing again. So we're just going to make sure that we can... expand in the future without having to destroy any more tracks. So this is my goal. And with that, actually I deleted the lines because I think it's safer to just create them again with all of that. So we're starting with New York. This is the passenger one to Philadelphia and to Washington. And later on we could go to Charlottesville. But I think this is going to be a pretty high density traffic anyway. We could also, by the way, then continue to Boston, for example. But I'd rather have those lines like this. And in New York, we're going to choose platform 1, of course. Right, this is pretty important. In Philadelphia, we're on our way now to Washington, so we do need to use platform number 2. And then we go to Washington, platform number 1. And then we continue back again to Philadelphia. This time it's platform number 1. And here it was 2. and then to New York City again, right? And this is going to be express only, and it's going to be the Firefly, and we're going to make 2 tracks on this right away, 2 trains with the dining car available. The track-wise, yep, there is something we still need to make sure. This one deletes itself after a remodeling, so let's just make sure that we use the right directions here. Looking good. So this is now fully operational again. And this makes sure that we also get the maximum freight to those cities, because those cities produce quite a lot of stuff now too. And we're going to make also here now New York to Philadelphia and to Washington and to Philadelphia again. And this is the freight now, right? There you go. And in New York, we choose platform number 2 right away. In Philadelphia, platform number 3. And in Washington, platform number, let's make it 4 right away. So, oops. 4, and then back again to Philadelphia, where we use platform number 3. Righto, and once again, let's choose the freight this time, 2 trains on it, and accept. And now we have 2 specialized systems here as well, between New York and Washington, getting the passengers done and getting the goods transportation done. Another thing we need to consider here, though, is very important, what the cities produce. So right now, Washington produces clothes, New York produces clothes, Philadelphia, dairy now, or cheese and meat. And in Washington, we have cloth and planks as a new one, right? And Washington needs the clothing, for example, from New York. And with that, we can also now say in the warehouse, let's go ahead and also accept now clothing at this warehouse here, so we can store it in between. I would also like to accept the planks in between, so Philadelphia kind of like counts as a buffer between the two. And the dairy products we don't need, we produce that here. And I think cloth we should also add to the system, right? So that those trains can also just store it in between, even though I think it's not necessary because it's one line anyway, right? So we don't really need to do this, but I want to export further than just Washington. And in Washington, by the way, we also should accept in the warehouse then definitive clothing. So any kind of surplus we can then use to transport from Washington to other cities, because clothing, let's face it, is already pretty high quality stuff, right? And the dairy products, because it is a tier 2 product, right? It needs wool, cloth, and then clothing. So that's quite a distance there. And what I can see is liquor is also produced now in Washington. And by the way, Washington grows again. Is it reaching now tier 6 already? Yeah, I think Washington goes for the highest tier. We don't even have the goods in that it needs. The clothing is coming in now soon. And the dairy products are also coming in now soon from Philadelphia. There is the Firefly already, the first one, with the passengers. Ah, very good. And there's the freighter coming in with the very good dairy products that Washington needs. And with that, we certainly will grow Washington to the next level here. Great. This is looking fantastic now. And also, by the way, I really love how those stations look once you fully upgrade them into something beautiful, right? And with that nice picture, we stop here and continue on in the next episode with city development and also city buildings. That's right, we can build city buildings in cities as well. Stay tuned.